Hello and welcome to Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
I'm Trevor.
I'm Ari.
I'm Charlie.
And I'm Josh. And today I am here with my second favorite lineup.
Hooray!
The Trevor, Ari, Charlie, and I lineup, which it's a very unpredictable, you have no idea what's going to happen kind of panel. As you can see, we have our bells again, like we did for the Forsaken Merman. And that is another strategy to keep Charlie well-behaved. Sometime last year we had a poll and asked what kind of exercise would you like to see Charlie complete? And the choices were jumping jacks, sit-ups, push-ups, or mountain climbers. And the winner of that poll was mountain climbers. So anytime Charlie says something irrelevant or goes off on a tangent or doesn't say it enough, one of us has
that's pretty specific. It's almost as you want him to do.
One of us has the opportunity to, sometimes he'll take a vow of silence if we feel that he's doing that. Okay. But one of us can ring the bell, and
he looks so
Charlie
angry
will
right
have
now.
to go down and do 5 mountain climbers.
Okay, deep breaths.
I'd just like to interrupt for a moment just to say that if it looks like I'm going to go off on at some point or another, I volunteer to do mountain climbers as well.
Oh, no. I'm just going to kick you out of the door. You're going to be off the panel. You know better.
We'll just let him do the mountain climber.
Yeah, you see, we're giving him a chance. You're out. You're out of here. Okay.
Already, the work that we're going over today is Asleep by Wilfred Owen. Wilfred Owen poems always seem to offer a sense
before, was it?
of substance to them and great sense of emotion and grit. The discussion starter that I have for this poem is, why use the word asleep to describe the dead soldier?
I just had a very bizarre notion. Because being asleep could very well mean he's asleep in death, pretty much. To use the biblical phrase, sleep with kings and counselors, a phrase which has also been popularized in the story Bartleby the Scrivener.
Oh, I remember that.
By Herman Melville.
Mm-hmm.
It was a birthday episode, flashback.
Yes.
If I may, sleep, going off what you said, asleep in death. And that goes back to, even further than that, it goes back to biblical times and other ancient texts of the of whatnot. So,
Yes, the Book of Job.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes, yeah. But sleep. If this is obviously under his helmet, up against his pack, this is a good chance this is war. So
It is war.
I know.
It's Wilfred Owen,
Yeah.
so you can probably say this is World War I.
Yeah. And it's after they didn't have the real big tank. They had good technology back then, but not like what we have today. They're all marching, and all these heavy bundles and whatnot. War is war, no matter how you cut it. But I think of it as a soldier taking just 10 minutes to sit down and say, on my feet all day, need to relax, and just fall asleep. And it's just a really good, relaxing sleep.
You're making the assumption though that this is a living soldier.
Well, I want you to read that.
Well, no, obviously, yes. Of the aborted life within him leaping.
Yeah,
obviously.
death took him by the heart.
Yeah.
There was a quaking of the aborted life within him leaping.
I think the fascinating thing about this poem, it's a poem, right? I classify it a poem.
Yeah.
The fascinating thing about this poem is that it really is describing one thing until the very last line, in which it then kind of shoots everything open. And honestly, I love poems like that, where you are reading about something and then the last line is like a sudden left turn that changes everything. So in this case, the last line is, then we who must awake and waking say, alas. In a way, that is completely not talking about the soldier. That's talking about everything else that's going around, and what Wilfred Owen is writing down and saying, this is happening, we need to do something about it. Or at least we need to view this a certain way. And it's just, like, if you get rid of that last line, you just have a poem about a dead soldier.
And the haunting part about this is that he never made it out of the war to be able to preach that message. But I think that when it comes to asleep is a positive term to denote that somebody is at rest. And
At rest.
Unless acted upon by an outside force.
Yeah, when it comes to death, I think the second to last line, he sleeps less tremulous, less cold.
Because he was...
I think technically
maybe he's aware something is going to happen that will not maybe help him, but help others.
A dead body starts out as, in its a clinical sense, it becomes cold and hard.
Yes.
But
rigor mortis.
Yeah, but as far as this particular subject is concerned, in the mental sleep state, it's no longer in that sense of discomfort. It is the damage is done, the life is over, and now the life is at a sense of
and technically when you're sleeping, you're actually you can actually have the ability to dream. While when you're dead, you can't dream, and perhaps that is also kind of an inner message that's trying to be gotten here.
It depends on how you perceive it, though, because death can sometimes be. Some may believe that it is an eternal dream.
I literally think this is another name for this poem should be like, if it was a more modern version, would be the Ballad of Kenny McCormick.
Although when you think about sleep and dreams and death, it almost brings to mind Hamlet's soliloquy. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come, and we must shuffle off this mortal coil. Must give us pause. And I know your
and what dreams may come was a Richard Matheson novel, which really it examines what he feels happens in
when you close
to one's life after death.
What happens? I like to say it's you never know until you really get there. So
and even then, once you get there. You're going to go back. How are you going to get back to let other people know what it's like? It's that undiscovered country from whose border no traveler returns.
The interesting thing about this is it seems to be more about final moments than afterlife. Or at least that's what it seems to come across.
It seems to be right after the death had taken place. It doesn't even seem like it's final moments, I think.
Or first moments of death, I should say.
Yes, I think that's a clearer term.
I'm honest. Another thing I'd like to say, clearing up what I was saying earlier. I understand this person is obviously deceased, but going off on what we said about sleep, after a really good, relaxing sleep, especially being in the trenches or coal mines or whatever, somebody wakes up. It's like, I feel great. I can go back to work now. That's another thing sleep does to people, especially those who may have trouble sleeping. But anyway,
I think that's somewhat irrelevant.
I'm sorry.
Think about this.
5 mountain climbers. You got the view, Andrew?
I think I said enough today.
I was trying not to say that.
Already.
But you knew I was going to say it.
Oh, gee. I'm
Already.
Hold on.
Already. 5 times.
Hold on. Really, I'm in pain, actually. All right. How do I do it? Just like this?
Yes. 2, 3.
Oh!
2 more.
Hold on.
Okay, that's good. 5.
Okay.
Woo!
Already. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, now because you crumpled this up, I can't really read it.
I apologize for that.
I like some of the descriptive words that Owen uses in this, actually. I really like this. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I like this first line. Whether his deeper sleep lies shaded by the shaking of great wings, and the thoughts that hung the stars, and the wind and the clouds, these rains, these fleets of lead, and these wind scimitars. These are really powerful words that like
I
very
like
aggressive words
it's
too.
incredible what how Wilfred Owen is able to take us
Sodden.
into the trenches.
Sodden thin and sodded head. Yeah, so like
Low-
shaded by the shaking of great wings, like, and the thoughts that hung the stars. That's just beautiful because that's not just talking about what's happening right here, right now.
Exactly.
That could be what could have caused it, or it could be talking about what's going on around him. While like you see a dead body on the floor and everyone else is just like, just running around him and stuff. It's absolutely fascinating. He's not just talking about one person. He's talking about like the entire. He's talking about what is happening while everything else is happening.
Right.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
I
fascinating.
think that's very. In a few weeks, we're going to be going over Virginia Woolf,
and
I think
between-
she's very much into not just talking about what's happening in the here and there, but also everything going around.
This, I believe, is the third Wilfred Owen poem. I think.
We did Dulce de Cormes.
Mm-hmm.
We did in season 8.
We did. This is the third one. I can tell you right now that this is probably the shortest one, but it's also probably the best one.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that Dulce was my favorite until I read this, and Dulce is good because it's a little longer though, and it's not as descriptive, but it's still very good.
Mm-hmm.
This one is good because it uses descriptive words, and it's also like I can almost imagine being the one dying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is quite. It
It's-
puts you in the moment, and
Yeah.
also gives you that well-round. It puts you into the moment too, whether
Right.
you are the subject or the bystander.
Mm-hmm.
The person that's we're seeing everything going on. And it
Not-
was Strange Meeting that we went over.
Strange Meaning was the other one, yeah. And it just feels like you're actually dying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though you're not. But.
Alrighty then. Was there anything
Now, if
else
I
you
did-
wanted to say, Trevor?
If I did that,
Well-
I'd be doing exercise.
I'm just thinking about what Charles was saying earlier.
You okay?
If I may digress momentarily, sometimes the soldiers, they don't really get any sleep. I mean,
Right.
being at war is a 24-hour-a-day job.
That's what I was saying.
Although, if some soldiers are lucky, they have other soldiers that will actually swap positions, take shifts.
Yes.
Oh, look at me
And
on
it's
the
not
zombie.
just in the combat corps either. I mean,
You know what? I'm changing the rules. Go do 5 mountain
I
climbs.
told you I can't do it because my flip flops.
Then take the flip flops off.
How about jumping jacks?
I can do jumping jacks. Can I do jumping jacks? It's easier. It actually is
Yeah,
easier.
5 jumping jacks.
Woohoo.
And should we do medicine jumping jacks?
No.
I'm just glad we're not doing
you
medicine
just step on
jumping
his
jacks
foot?
because
No,
I can't
I was
think
trying
of
to
one
step on
for
your
C.
foot, but I missed.
Where was I?
If you stepped on my foot, you're gonna do 5 more.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to do that.
Not just the
Actually, you know what? I would have less pity on you.
But
and
also-
you'd be doing mountain climbing.
but it's also in the medical corps. I mean, as anybody who's ever read or watched MASH can testify to. Or, matter of fact, anyone who's ever been in those units can testify
What were you
to.
talking about with MASH?
Well, because it's the medicine, the medical corps is rather than just the combat corps.
Yes.
And there's
Mhm.
also the information corps, the people who send the messages back and forth from the front lines to headquarters and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Even they've got to take it in shifts too.
So, in a
Even
way,
if
you're
it's-
not just saying it's like the immediate battlefield. It's like all of the cogs of war being kind of shown while you have this dead body here.
Exactly.
And has anyone stopped to say, thank you?
Sometimes we do, but sometimes I just don't think we say it in the right way. I mean,
Right.
It's
a parade is beautiful, but is it really helping the
you
boys
say,
overseas?
You say it and you do it because you feel that you need to, and you don't really think hard enough. You only think as hard as you want to think.
As Pink Floyd once said, bring the boys back home.
Already then, do we have any final thoughts?
I think this is... I always thought Dulce was the best one, but this one, I think, breaks it. I think this one is better.
I think I would say that this really does get under one's skin,
It was very
and it's direct too.
close. It was
Yeah.
close to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
That it was.
Was
I
that,
give this poem a 5 out of 5.
was that a pun?
What one?
When you said close to the heart. Never mind. 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5.
Yeah, give
Now,
it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I would
Alright,
say that
Charlie didn't do
I would
anything
give it a
this
5
time.
out of 5 too, even though we don't necessarily always rate short work.
So
But
we're
it would
giving
be
this
5
all,
out of 5.
Yeah, this was you know, I have to say I'd probably give all of Wilfred Owen stuff like 4 or 5, but this one's still the best, even if I've rated other ones 5 out of 5.
I would have to read the rest of what he's written, but I would say that this is very underrated. I think that people need to, if they're examining Dulce et Decorum Mask, they need to examine this too. So, if you are interested in reading this and Wilfred Owen's other poems, here is the collected poems of Wilfred Owen. This is my New Directions paperback edition.
Okay. Is that Wilfred Owen on the cover, or
Yep,
is that just a...
that's Wilfred Owen on the cover.
Now,
So he's had experience.
he passed away before the war was over, right?
Yes. Siegfried Sassoon survived after the war, and so did Dylan Thomas, but Wilfred Owen did not.
I want to say just one quick thing, if that's okay. Imagine how difficult it is to write poetry when you're at war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it has to be. The resources and the material, it's just...
Jesse's here! Yay!
Not to mention the time needed to write the poetry during war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that completely. But be sure to join us next time for another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now,
Keep reading and
Keep
support
reading.
the troops.